ଆମେ କଣ ଡିସ୍କସ୍ କରୁଥିଲେ ପୂର୍ବରୁ ତମେ ଆସିଛ ପୂର୍ବରୁ କଲେକ୍ଟିଭ ବାର୍ଗେନିଂ ତାପରେ ଆମେ ट्रेड यूनियन एनसीएल आईएलओ then we'll talk about different concept of trade union what we already discussed. We'll read all these things. Once I share this slide, it will help you to make a note for this. What is industrial relations? That you are aware of all these things. Industrial relations implies the relations between both employer and employees during the period of employment of an industrial organization. However, the concept of industrial relations has a broader meaning. In a broader sense, the term industrial relations refers to the relations between various union, state, and union, and between employers and government. Relations of all those associated with the industries may be known as industrial relations. So most of the times, industrial relations doesn't mean the only relations between the employer and employee. It also means the relations within the employees, within the employer. According to the International Labour Organization (ILO), industrial relation deals with relationship between either state and employers and workers organization and the relationship between the occupation organization themselves. So in that particular group, within that group, so how they maintain the discussion, how they maintain the relationship in a healthy form, in a good way, that also involves industrial relationship. So it doesn't mean that only relations between employer and the employee, workers and the worker. Within that group, so that's what different organizations like ILO, they have given the opinion. Characteristics. If you read the characteristics, most of the things derived from the definition. Industrial relations are the result of employment relationship in the industrial enterprise. Industrial relations introduce the concept and method of balancing the cooperating. And see, it will, when negotiation happens, you understood the collective bargaining. When you are talking to the owners for a demand, for a problem, so you need to keep that in mind that how you are balancing the problem. So in a win-win situation, you will not have a big loss or the company organization will not have a big. Both are benefited. So the same example we take, if the organization is giving a canteen to the employee will be happy and they are using, the organization will have several things. They will have a property, they can say proudly that they have a canteen. And if employees are happy, if the workers are happy, that they will work more, that will benefit to the organization. So once the organization is getting more benefits, they will have many advantages out of that. So industrial relations introduce the concept of balancing and cooperating. So how you are balancing whenever you are listening something, listening a demand or executing a demand, you have to keep that in mind. Industrial relations formulate rules and regulations to maintain harmonious relations. Harmonious means healthy relations between all the parties. The intervention of the government to shape the industrial relations is made through laws, agreement, rules, and charter, etc. So when the government is interfering, government is responsible to making the laws, making the rules, making the act. The government's role is that whatever coming in the discussion, in the negotiation. So ultimately, those are formed in terms of rules, regulations. Charter means list of activity. So they are coming as a law. Industrial relations incorporate both individual relations and collective relations. So as I said, this is not between the relations between one person, it between the relations between within the organization and cross organization and collectively. Because you have a problem with the management. So what is that problem? Why is that problem happened? So it's not you should have a problem. If no one has a problem with that context, why you are having a problem? If you are having a problem, maybe there will be some other people having the same problem. So resolving that kind of issue is one responsibility of the union. So union resolve that, then you'll have a good relations with your employment, with your employer, and that is not the nature characteristics of industrial relations to maintain a good relation individually with you. So it also responsible to maintain good relations with everyone. So the nature, the characteristics is not the to maintain the individual relationship, it is maintaining the group relationship. So relationship between within parties and between different parties. So both are equally important for the industry. Another thing is objective of industrialism. The same thing we'll read again. They establish the industrial peace. So when there is no lockdown, there is no lockup, there is no strike, there is no bond organization. So there will be definitely peace. So each owner, each entrepreneur, each employer wants that with that kind of peace. That is one objective of industrial relations. To safeguard the interest of both workers and management, to avoid industrial dispute, raise the production capacity. So all these are different objectives to raise the capacity. So it's not only always fighting, demanding, and talking. It is also thinking the industrial relationship, different unions, whatever they formed. So they are also equally responsible to how to increase the productivity of the industry. Suppose one industry is producing 100 units this month. Every month is producing 100 units. So if workers decided, okay, this month we'll produce another 10 units extra. That means 10% of more productivity will give to industry. So that itself is a big commitment from the employee side, worker side. So raise production capacity to establish industrial democracy. Each person is equal, how the leaders are not joining in political parties. They are always thinking about the organization, about the employees, about the employer. So that is democracy. To minimize the labor turnover rate and absenteeism, labor turnover rate that I was talking earlier, people are going, coming, leaving. So that is called as labor turnover rate. So suppose you are leaving and tomorrow some people are joining. If that is continuous, then organization is investing more energy, more power in terms of recruitment, training, all these things. If that is minimized, people are less people are leaving, less people are joining. That means you are stable. So you have to minimize that. The organization, the industrial relationship, main main objective is that to minimize the workforce turnover rate, to safeguard the workers' economy and social interest. Any economic interest and social interest of the workers, to protect that, to safeguard that, to contribute the economic development of the country through productivity. If the productivity of an industry is more, the profitability income is more. The industry profit is more, then country is going to benefit. Country is going to get more revenue, more tax, more. So there will be a economic impact of the country when more industrialization happening. Once the industries are more profitable, so that will contribute to nation's economy to establish full employment situation. People are getting more work, full employment situation, so you won't find people are unnecessarily sitting on the bench or not working, not productive. So people are always getting more work. So that kind of culture is there. That kind of objectives are there for industrial relations. To minimize the strike, lockout, arrows means any kind of bond, any kind of less productive hours or minimal productive hours or zero productive hours. So if people are in strike and lockout, so you will not have any production in the industry. You will lose the money. So to minimize that, that is one objective of industrial relations. So these are the main objectives of relations. Who are responsible of making such relations that we discussed. Trade union, National Commission of Labor, International Labor Organization, ILO, NCL, TO. So these are the organization, these are the body responsible to maintain the industrial relationship. And objective scope will read it. Nature. Industrial relations are concerned with the relationship between the management and workers. Industrial relations safeguard the interest of employees. Industrial relations are concerned with the system, rules, and procedures used by the unions and employees to determine the reward for efforts and other conditions of employment. Safeguard interest of the employees. This term you are listening everywhere. So it is safeguarding the interest of the employees and the employers and regulate the employers treat their employees. So how employers are treating to the employees and what are their interests respectively for the owners and the workers. So this relationship and how they are maintaining to different organizations, to different bodies like trade union, national commission, international organization. So they are mainly for this purpose. Industrial relations maintain balance with the employees. So these things we discussed how they are maintaining the balance between employees exploitation and employers association, trade union and other social economic institutions of societies. Industrial relations help in resolving dispute, conflict, and controversies between labor and management. Any kind of controversies, any dispute, any conflict happening both the parties. So these are the nature of industrial relationship. What they do, what is the scope, what kind of organization, what kind of unity they do, scope of industrialization. Industrialization is wide-reaching team. Different scholars have expressed their different views on the scope of industrialization. So, who is this Dale Adler? Is an American psychologist, author. He has given some opinion. Industrial relationship encouraged policies related to recruitment, selection, training, and workers' personal management and collective bargaining. According to ILO, industrial relations include the relations between state and employers and relations between the trade unions and employers association. So there are different type of organization body like trade union and association of employees and employees. So to maintain a good and healthy relationship between all these organizations is called industrial relations. That is what the opinion given by Del Adler. Del Adler is the one author, one analyst who has given the definition and lot of theories, lot of analysis management in industry relations. According to Richard A. Lessler, Richard, the scope of industrial relationship is no longer limited only to trade union and industrial management. Rather, it includes all aspects of labor such as wages, productivity, social security, management, and employees' policy. Trade union policies are a form part of it. So he is telling that this relationship has a broad meaning, not only limited to trade union activity, form, part, policies. So it is related to the overall management, all aspects of labor. Laborers are facing problems with wages, their productivity, social security management. Suppose a group of laborers they are asking for new training. They want to learn more. So that is one issue. That kind of things are building relationship, or that is one demand. How we are giving more training, how the employers is giving more training to the employees, how employees are more knowledgeable, more productive day by day. In a modern organization, another scope is given here. Industrial relationship demand relations departments. In most of the company, in big company, you will find there is a dedicated department to maintain the industrial relations. That is what told in the third point. In a modern organization, the industrial relations functions are performed by the industrial relations department. This function is performed under the supervision of the director of the industrial relations department. In this department, there will be another director. So they will be responsible to perform different functions to make sure there are good relations established between the industry, between all the teams, all the organizations. In the performance of these functions, Support is rendered by the different managers and subordinates. Different important functions performed by workers of the industrial relationship department. So that department is responsible to maintain the relationship, and there are a lot of things need to happen by that department. So like understanding all the labor issues, maintaining a good relations with the outside world, public relations, and the competitors and the different departments across all the departments. Those are written as point under three: recruitment, selection, and placement level to provide medical and health related issues, to maintain employment records, provisions of recruitment test, provisions of training, education. So all these things are responsible or noted in modern organization. So nowadays, most of the companies maintaining the department will take care of relations between different teams, different organizations, different bodies, different unions. So that is the scope. Scope is not limited to one or two employee or specific to edges. There are many things. Their training, their growth, their facility, their social life, their security. So lot of things are taken care by different unions, different bodies, and that is what the scope of industrial relationship. Why it is important? So there are some points. First point is democracy. Second point is moral, avoid conflict, minimize wastage, economic growth and development. These things we kind of read about it earlier, and we'll repeat it. Why industrial relations? Why there is a good relations required between the workers and the owners? Promote democracy. Industrial relations means employing collective bargaining to resolve issues faced by workers. So collective bargaining, democracy, you understand. So promote democracy if there is a good relations with your employment, with your owners. So it will helpful for you to raise your voice for anything. You can talk, you can discuss if there is a good relations. So that is important to having a healthy relations with your employer. If someone is asking you the work, you don't like that person, you have always fighting with that person. So you cannot talk to that person. So this relationship is required to promote a good, healthy democracy between workers and the owners. High moral. If there is a good relationship, then people will be more motivated. They will work more. So that will increase the profitability, efficiency of the industry. Avoid conflict between management and the union. So there are two parties which will avoid conflict between management and the unions. Any dispute, any disagreement between the parties, between management and union, that will resolved by the different bodies, the different unions. Minimize wastage. If cross department will have good relations, If you are talking to other department, what they are, suppose there is a training happening in other department, and the same training you also need. So you can represent some people from your department to join in the same training, or the both the department can have one training instead of two different training. So that will reduce the cost of organization. That will minimize the wastage. If you conduct the same training from your department and they conduct the same training from their department, there will be two trainings. Whereas you can manage within one training. So whenever you have a good relations between teams, between departments, it will minimize your stress. So that I gave a one small example. There are many cases like that where you can minimize the wastage. Economic growth and development. Whenever your organization is doing well, you have good relations, your people are more productive, more efficient. So that means you are you are more profitable, more productive. That means your organization is earning more money. Your factory is doing more production. So that will enhance the growth of the company as well as the growth of the nations. The country is also getting benefits out of it. These are the importance. Why industrial relationship is important for one organ functions. Functions also similar to nature and characteristics to establish communication between workers and management to maintain the sound relations between two, to establish support between managers and employees, to ensure the creative contribution of trade unions to avoid industrial conflict, to safeguard the interest of workers, to avoid an unhealthy and unethical atmosphere in an industry. To formulate such consideration that may promote understanding, creativity, and corporativeness, to enhance industrial productivity, to ensure better workers' participation. So these are the functions. These things you kind of familiar with when you read about objectives, characteristics. So what industrial relations does? What are the main functions? The main function is to maintain the relationship, maintain and safeguard the interest of both the parties. While doing that, you will have many things to say. Better workers' participation. So, for the last point, to ensure better workers' participation. What does it mean? So, whenever you are doing something, you you include your team members. You make sure your team members are participated. Suppose you are discussing something, you are making a plan, you are making a strategy. So you know there are some people who can contribute. You call them and sit with them and make sure they are participating instead of they are working only. So they will feel important. They will feel safe. So whenever you are calling them, involving them, you are making sure people are participated in your work. So that will enhance a good relationship between the employer and employee. So in that way, you can include people in your discussion. So this is the main points of function of industrial relationship, what industrial relationship does, what are the things, what are the work they have to take care. So these slides, around last 5 6 slides, you can keep with you as your notes, objectives, nature, scope, characteristics, and functions. What industrial relationship meaning. I'll send this and you can start making your note. Next class we'll read another important topic. Same with trade union. So this is we'll understand more on each trade union industry that we already discussed. We'll understand few trade union who are very important in India. We'll take some good use case, good example. In another 1 2 class, I'm thinking our syllabus will complete. Then we'll plan some revision. Today I will send this as note, and this is what for today's class. Remember this as your important topic. We'll meet again Tuesday. Tuesday will be your next class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.